From agonizing gaps between seasons to murmurs of behind-the-scenes troubles, a certain major casting gaffe, and a general lack of interest from audiences. These shows and seasons already seem like they're circling the drain before a single second has aired. So I am Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are 10 upcoming TV shows that are already doomed. Number 10, Orphan Black Echoes. Orphan Black's spin-off series Echoes certainly had some solid on-paper promise with the great Kristen Ritter playing the lead role. But a major spanner was thrown in the works with the recent Hollywood strikes. Principal photography on the show was finished last January, which pretty much made a 2023 release a given. However, the strike caused AMC to delay their airing of the show to 2024. But because they had already agreed to allow Australian network Stan to release the show in 2023, Stan indeed released all the episodes in November 2023. And so while there's no legal way the rest of the world can actually watch this show right now, the episodes have actually been online on piracy websites for months, though we do not recommend going on them, ensuring that when Echoes does actually finally land on US television, the ratings are probably not going to be as strong as they could have been. But far more damaging than piracy, the fact that early reactions to the show have been pretty much lukewarm at best. And so by the time it does actually release through legit channels, most people may have lost any interest in watching the thing. So with all that being said, it already seems rather unlikely that Echoes will end up getting renewed for a second season. Number 9, Skeleton Crew. The next entry into Disney's ever-growing stable of Star Wars TV shows is Skeleton Crew, a coming-of-age adventure centered around 4 possibly Force-sensitive children, who attempt to make their way back home with a little help from a Force user by the name of Jude Law. His name's probably not Jude Law in this series, but we're gonna go with it. MCU director John Watts serves as co-creator on the show, but beyond knowing that it takes place around the time of the Mandalorian series, Disney has kept their cards curiously close to their chest with this one. It's an especially odd move given that Skeleton Crew actually wrapped a year ago, and yet we've still not really seen anything apart from some context-free images of Jude Law looking like this. This might just be because, if a year-old report from Making Star Wars can be believed, production has been grueling and amongst the most arduous of any Star Wars TV project to date, possibly indicating that Watts & Co are struggling right now to bring this project to fruition. The longer we go without getting a trailer, a synopsis, or even a release date for the show, the worse it's looking for a project that finished shooting last January. And while we're on the subject of Star Wars TV shows, I want to know right now in the comment section down below what your favourite one is. Is it The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, or possibly one of the animated ones? You let me know in the comment section below, and then go and click on What Culture Star Wars because it's bloody brilliant. Number 8, Severance Season 2. There's no denying that audiences are growing increasingly tired of the massive long waits in between seasons when it comes to prestige or high-concept TV shows, an issue which has only been unavoidably exacerbated by the recent strikes. But beyond that already considerable hurdle, Apple's hit sci-fi thriller TV show Severance has also had to deal with a glut of behind-the-scenes drama. The second season began filming in October 2022, and last summer reports emerged that shooting had been slowed down by creative differences between showrunners Dan Erickson and Mark Friedman, as well as script issues and, as a result, a ballooning budget. Producer-director Ben Stiller nevertheless tried to play down the reports, of course, but because those issues apparently just aren't enough, the strikes also mean that Season 2 still has not finished shooting some 15 months after they started. It has been suggested that shooting could actually, end at the end of February, and going by the first season's lengthy 8 months of post-production, it's entirely possible that Season 2 might not even air until the end of 2024 or maybe even 2025. As brilliant and rightly acclaimed as that first season definitely was, it's tough not to consider whether the audience is actually even going to be there for Season 2 nearly 3 years on. That is a long old time. Number 7, Crystal Lake. Friday the 13th fans have been waiting and waiting and waiting for a new official entry into the franchise since 2009's relatively successful remake, due to the rights to the IP getting caught up in all kinds of thorny legal limbo. But with the matter somewhat resolved lately, in late 2022 it was announced that Hannibal's Brian Fuller would actually be bringing a prequel Friday the 13th series to screens. Said show will go by the name of Crystal Lake, and it will be in collaboration with A24. Even with the series' original heroine Adrienne King returning in this show, and Scream scribe Kevin Williamson set to pen an episode, it is still really tough to get excited about this, even as a fan desperate to see just something from the series. After all, a Friday the 13th prequel suggests that Jason Voorhees probably isn't going to be in it, and if he is, probably not in a murderous capacity. And honestly, what's really the point without him? Plus, given that we all know know Jason's backstory and how the Camp Crystal Lakes killings began, what's really left to tell? Probably not a lot. Most fans just want a new movie, not a half-baked TV prequel thing. Number 6. Snowpiercer Season 4. The predicament faced by Snowpiercer's fourth and final season is not dissimilar to Severance, except that it never really had to deal with strike action disrupting production, given that it wrapped filming in August 2022. As for why it still hasn't aired 18 months later, TNT originally announced that Snowpiercer's final season would mark their last foray into scripted original programming. But this past January, it was further revealed that TNT wouldn't actually be airing Snowpiercer at all. Instead, the rights were acquired by production company Tomorrow Studios, who have actually attempted to shop it around to other networks. Yet, over a year on from that announcement, we've still not had a buyer. Most involved with the show remained curiously quiet throughout 2023, though back in December, cast member Mike O'Malley did confirm that the show was indeed in the can, while insisting that it would end up somewhere, so that's promising. All the same, that nobody has still taken Tomorrow up on their offer at this point in time is extremely worrying, because it just doesn't look like the commercial interest is really there. Plus, with each passing month, we get further and further away from Season 3's finale. Yeah, that finale actually aired in March 2022. That was so long ago, I had hair. Well, I didn't, but you get what I mean. So it becomes an even tougher sell, because surely viewers' memories of what happened at the end of Season 3 have become a little bit hazy since then. I know mine have. Thank you very much for watching this video today. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, then go down below, hit that subscribe button, and let the good times roll. Number 5. Harry Potter. Let's be honest, in the streaming era's never-ending push to mine old glories for new content, it was only ever going to be a matter of time before Warner Brothers announced that they were going to create a TV adaptation of the Harry Potter series. For all of their flaws, the 8 Potter movies were actually pretty terrific, weren't they? And so, rather than using these movies as a leap-off point to explore other parts of the wizarding world, Warner Brothers is simply doing it all over again, but on their streaming service, Max. Even if you've generously pointed out that putting it in a TV format does give the showrunners the chance to flesh out the books a little bit more, the series faces an extremely steep climb trying to find actors that can live up to the legacies of Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Michael Gambon, and so on. Plus, trying to adapt 7 books into a TV series and keeping the cast age appropriate is probably going to be pretty difficult too. And on top of that, the nagging tendency for mega-budget series nowadays to ditch the season-per-year format of yore, it's going to be a major headache getting this shot and released in a timely fashion. So with all that being said, the probability of this just being a less impressive elongated version of the films is extremely high. Number 4. The Witcher Seasons 4 and 5. The moment that Henry Cavill announced that he was departing The Witcher after Season 3, the show's days were absolutely positively numbered. Despite the show's many creative issues, Cavill's performance as Geralt of Rivia was much loved by the fans. And so for him to exit and then be replaced by Liam Hemsworth, who, no offense, is a bit of a downgrade, has already left legions of Witcher fans swearing off the new seasons. Yes, seasons, because though Netflix have no idea how fans are going to react to Hemsworth in the role, they've already gone ahead and confirmed Season 4 and Season 5. And given that Season 4 is being shot from March to September this year, likely giving it a 2025 release, there will be roughly 2 years from Cavill's last episode and Hemsworth's first appearance. Now, it does seem likely that many fans will probably check out the first episode or 2 out of morbid curiosity just to see how Hemsworth actually does, but after that, there's every chance that the viewing figures could fall right off a cliff, all while Netflix will likely be halfway through production on a doomed 5th season. Wonderful stuff. Number 3. Peep Show, the US remake. No legitimate discussion about the greatest sitcom of all time can be had without mentioning Peep Show, the deliciously cynical British comedy centered around 2 housemates played by David Mitchell and Robert Webb, eking out a miserable existence in London and shot from a unique POV perspective. Given that 4 prior attempts have been made to remake the Peep Show for the US, the most recent being in 2019, it truly did seem like the ship had finally sailed and networks had got the message. Oh, but not quite. In late 2022, it was confirmed that Atlanta writer Stefani Robinson had been brought on to work on a 5th attempt for FX, which last year made serious headway with the casting of Minnie Driver and Amanda Jahava in the lead roles for the series. Though this new take focused on an unhinged tech entrepreneur and her embattled assistant, will retain the POV style of its inspiration, there's simply no way to recapture the original's searing British wit and perfect central dynamic, especially with the likelihood that it's going to sanitize all the pointy edges. The pitchforks are already out for this one among the fandom, so you do have to ask, why bother? Number 2. Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again is yet another Marvel Cinematic Universe project that has suffered a hell of a lot from behind-the-scenes drama. For though it filmed for several months before the Hollywood strikes just completely stopped the industry last year, this pause in production caused Marvel Studios to reconsider the creative direction for the show, at which point the head writers were dismissed, with the studio then seeking new filmmakers to create a new vision. Less than half of the show's 18 episodes had already reportedly been shot, and while some of the filmed material will still make its way into the finished product, it's also expected that much of it is probably going to be chucked out. Moon Knight directors Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead have been brought in to direct much of the new material, which will apparently begin filming within a couple of weeks. By the time you're watching this, it's probably already up and running. Though worrying rumours indicated that the original version of the series killed off Daredevil's pals Foggy Nelson and Karen Page off screen, it's since been mercifully reported that they are actually probably going to be back for this one, with it also being confirmed by Kingpin actor himself Vincent D'Onofrio that this show is very much going to be connected to the old Daredevil one from Netflix. Remember that thing? They're all going to be canon. All the same, such a creative overhaul isn't exactly a great sign, is it? And while this is definitely better than just forging ahead with a project that evidently isn't working, it also doesn't inspire much confidence about the already quite shaky oversight at Marvel Studios. Number 1. Peacemaker Season 2. James Gunn Peacemaker was nothing if not a breath of fresh air when it premiered 2 years ago. Yep, 2 years ago now. A witty, hilarious, brilliantly cast R-rated spin-off from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which ranked among the highest DCEU content to date, which admittedly is not saying much. Fans have been chomping at the bit for a Season 2 ever since. But Gunn's busy slate, including not only Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 but the upcoming Superman Legacy, has kept him from forging ahead with it. Gunn did however confirm recently that he's more than halfway through writing the script for Peacemaker Season 2, and that it'll get made after Superman Legacy. But with Legacy due to start filming in March 2024, and likely to take up Gunn's attention for pretty much the rest of the year, it's unlikely that shooting's going to begin before the end of 2024, and it may even be pushed to 2025. And so there's a very realistic possibility that Peacemaker Season 2 won't actually land on screens until 2025 or maybe even 2026. That will be around 4 years on from the first season. That is madness. Yeah, that's a brutal gap between seasons, it's got to be said. And as fantastic as the first volume of episodes definitely were, such a large chasm between seasons may actually lead to impatience or just casual fans losing interest in watching the show altogether. But not me, I will always be there to watch John Cena do his thing, if I can find him.